Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about The Coming Wave
Oh, okay.
by Mustafa Suleyman.
Yeah.
It's all about this incredible surge of new technologies coming out right now.
Hmm.
AI, synthetic biology, robotics, all the things that are going to
They're into it.
reshape our world.
And I think what's really interesting about this book
Yeah,
is that Suleiman isn't just like some
right.
tech philosopher. He's a co-founder of DeepMind. So he's really been
Wow.
at the forefront of developing this technology.
Yeah.
And he's got a pretty sobering perspective on what
Yeah.
all this rapid progress could mean.
Yeah, he actually opens the book with
Oh,
this
he did.
chilling anecdote about being at a seminar
Yeah.
where this presenter is laying out all the potential dangers of biotechnologies, becoming easily accessible.
Yeah.
And he said people were just freaked out.
Like they couldn't believe what they were hearing.
It was too much to process.
It was just too much.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he's trying to do with the book as a whole.
Right.
He's arguing that we're facing this massive technological wave.
Okay.
And it has this power to both elevate and devastate us.
Yeah.
It's the defining challenge of the 21st century.
Okay.
How to harness these incredible tools without unleashing these unintended consequences.
Right, because there's so much potential for good, but also so much that could go wrong.
So much potential for harm.
Yeah. So the book is divided into two parts.
Yeah.
Part one kind of dives into the history of technology
Yeah.
and, if we've ever been able to truly contain it.
Right. Have we ever been able to
once it's out there.
put the genie back in the bottle?
Exactly.
And historically,
yeah.
it doesn't look good.
Right.
He highlights this pattern of endless proliferation.
Okay.
This unstoppable wave-like motion of technology throughout history.
Interesting.
And he has some good examples.
I was going to say, I bet he has some great examples.
Yeah, he does.
Illustrate this.
So one of them is personal transportation.
Okay.
So we went from walking to horses and carriages to boom.
Right.
The internal combustion engine changed everything.
And even though these shifts seem slow at first,
Yeah.
eventually you get this massive diffusion.
Right.
And, a complete reshaping of society.
Totally.
Yeah. So what else?
Another great example he uses is computing.
Oh, yeah.
So, going from these massive, clunky vacuum tube computers
right.
to the smartphones we have today.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing how far we've come.
It's so fast, too.
It's unbelievably fast.
And the evolution of AI
Yes.
is no different.
No different.
You think about early image recognition models.
Like AlexNet.
Like AlexNet to the sophisticated abilities of GPT-3.
It's just amazing.
It's incredible.
How far we've come.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing how quickly
these
technologies go from novelty to completely indispensable.
Yeah,
I remember when smartphones first came out, it was oh, this is
luxury for
a fun little toy.
the rich and famous.
Exactly. Now they're basically extensions of ourselves.
Extensions of our brains.
Yeah, for billions of people.
For billions of people.
It's crazy.
And that's precisely what makes this coming wave so challenging. Right. It's not just one technology. It's this convergence of advancements in AI biology, robotics, all feeding off of each other.
Yeah.
And accelerating at an exponential rate.
So has there ever been a time where we've successfully said no?
Yeah, that's the question.
To a technology.
Yeah. Has anyone ever been able to put
our foot to
the genie back in the bottle?
Yeah.
And Suleiman looks at this through a bunch of historical examples.
Right.
One of them is the Ottoman Empire.
Okay.
They tried to ban the printing press.
Oh, wow.
In the 15th century because they saw it as this dangerous Western innovation.
So even back then they were worried about?
They were worried.
The spread of information and ideas.
That's right.
But it didn't work.
It didn't work.
So they couldn't stop the spread of ideas.
He argues that knowledge, once it's out there, is incredibly difficult to suppress.
Right.
Another great example is silk making.
Okay.
So this was a secret that China guarded for centuries.
Oh, wow.
But eventually, 2 monks smuggled some silkworm eggs out of the country.
Oh, wow.
And boom, the knowledge spread like wildfire.
That's a great example.
And so think about how much harder it is to control information in the digital age.
Oh, my God.
With the internet open research.
It's just out there.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, it feels like trying to hold back the tide.
It really does.
So if history is telling us we can't really stop technological progress, are we just supposed to surrender to this wave and hope for the best?
Well, not quite.
Okay.
Suleyman believes we need a more nuanced approach.
Okay.
One that accepts that this is happening.
Okay.
But puts safeguards in place to manage the risk. And he calls this containment.
Containment.
Containment. And this involves a lot of things.
By what kind of things?
Technical safety measures, responsible commercial models, international cooperation, a culture of transparency and accountability.
Oh, okay. So that sounds like a pretty big undertaking.
It is.
And of all these emerging technologies, AI seems to be the one advancing at like the fastest pace.
Absolutely.
Suleyman even says that AI is on track to reach human-level performance.
Yeah.
Across a wide range of tasks within the next few years.
Yeah, it's a pretty bold statement.
That's a bold statement.
But I think if you look at the progress we've seen just in the past decade,
it's
not that crazy.
It's not that crazy.
Self-driving cars, facial recognition, the increasing automation of all sorts of tasks. AI is already embedded in our lives.
Totally.
And the pace of development is only accelerating.
And he tells this fascinating story about DeepMind's AlphaGo.
Yes.
This AI that beat a world champion Go player.
Back in 2016. It's such a great story.
It's really powerful illustration of AI's potential.
Could not just match, but potentially surpass human capabilities.
And what I think is really crazy is that AlphaGo didn't just win. It uncovered these strategies and moves that human players hadn't even considered in
thousands of years.
Thousands of years.
That the game has been played.
Yeah.
It's wild.
So AI can approach problems differently.
It can think outside the box.
Yeah.
It can explore solutions outside the realm of human experience.
Imagine what that could mean for, like, medicine.
Oh, my God.
Scientific research, even art.
Right.
If AI can think beyond
the limitations of human creativity.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting.
It's both exciting and terrifying.
It is.
Right?
That's the dilemma.
What happens if this power falls into the wrong hands?
Or what happens if we just lose control of it altogether?
Yeah.
It's a scary thought.
And he even dives into those large language models.
He does.
Like GPT-3 and Google's LaMDA.
Yeah.
What really stood out to me was that he said he stopped using like traditional search engines.
He just talks to LaMDA.
Yeah, and just started talking to LaMDA to work through ideas.
That's the future of research.
It makes you wonder what even constitutes research anymore. It's blurring the line between like
human thought.
Yeah, human thought and AI assistance.
Yeah, in a very profound way.
Yeah, and this points to a future where AI isn't just a tool, but like a collaborator.
A partner.
Yeah, like a conversational partner that helps us think through
complex issues.
Yeah, complex issues.
Come up with creative solutions.
It's so interesting.
It's wild.
But it also raises some like really profound questions about consciousness.
Yes.
If these AI models can hold these conversations that feel so real, how do we even define sentience?
It's a tough question.
Yeah.
Suleyman argues that our preoccupation with AI consciousness might be distracting us from the more immediate ethical challenges. So he's saying these AI systems are going to seem so real, so normal, that the question of their consciousness will become almost irrelevant.
So whether or not they're conscious in the way that we understand it,
in the way we think about it,
these systems will be so sophisticated that we'll have to treat them as if they have
a kind of agency.
A kind of agency.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And that requires a whole new set of ethical frameworks.
Yeah.
How do we even begin to think about that?
Yeah, how do we wrap our minds around that?
It's a huge challenge.
Yeah. And these frameworks need to address not only the potential of AI for good, but also the risks of like bias discrimination even.
The erosion of trust in information itself.
Right, because it's getting harder and harder to know what's real and what's not.
What's real and what's fake.
Especially with these deep fakes.
Especially with deep fakes.
Yeah.
So the challenge is, how do we mitigate those risks while fostering innovation? And allowing these technologies to reach their full potential.
It's a tough balancing act.
It's a really tough balancing act.
Yeah, but it's a conversation we need to be having.
Absolutely, we need to be having this conversation now.
Yeah, because this is happening whether we like it or not.
It's happening.
Yeah, it's coming.
So we need to be prepared.
You need to be prepared.
All right, so that's a great overview of kind of the first part of the coming wave.
Yeah.
Setting the stage.
The stage is set.
For this massive technological wave.
Yeah.
And all the challenges and opportunities
that come with it. So what's next?
Let's dive into part 2.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Let's go.
So we've established that this wave of powerful new tech is coming, right?
It's coming.
And our traditional systems aren't really equipped
to deal with it. But Suleyman doesn't just leave us hanging.
No, he doesn't.
He lays out this 10-step plan.
He does.
For what he calls containment.
Containment.
I'm really curious to hear what that looks like.
So there's a pretty detailed blueprint.
Okay.
He's talking about this multi-layered approach to managing these technologies.
Okay.
Building these interlocking safeguards, all the way from how we design these systems to global agreements.
Wow.
Even shifts in our culture.
That sounds incredibly ambitious.
It is.
Where does he even begin?
Well, he starts with technical safety.
Okay.
But we're not just talking about bug fixes here.
Yeah.
We're talking about a fundamental shift in how we approach development from the ground up.
Okay.
He uses this analogy with photocopiers.
Oh, yeah.
Most photocopiers have tech that prevents you from counterfeiting money.
Right.
So why can't we build similar safeguards into technologies that are far more powerful?
Right. That makes sense.
And potentially dangerous.
Like AI or synthetic biology.
Yes,
it's about building in safety.
From the very beginning.
From the start, yeah.
Yeah, he actually highlights some really interesting research.
Okay.
On what's called provably beneficial AI.
Provably beneficial AI.
It aims to carefully infer our preferences and goals to prevent harmful outcomes.
So aligning AI with human values.
Aligning AI with human values.
And intentions from the outset.
From the get-go.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting approach.
Yeah, I like that.
He also talks about ensuring corrigibility.
Corrigibility.
Yeah, making sure we can always access and correct AI systems.
Okay.
Even as they become more sophisticated and potentially autonomous.
That makes me think of those kill switches.
Yeah.
You sometimes hear about with robots.
It's like having an emergency shut-off valve for a nuclear reactor.
Right.
It's better to have it and not need it
than the other way around.
Than need it and not have it.
Exactly.
These safeguards are crucial.
Yeah. Especially as we move towards these, like, more powerful and autonomous AI systems. Okay, so step 1 is building in safety from the start.
Step 1, build in safety.
What's step 2?
Step 2 is all about slowing down.
Slowing down.
The pace of development.
Okay.
In key areas.
Okay.
By leveraging what he calls choke points.
Choke point. Okay, what does that even mean?
So think of them as critical junctures in the development process.
Okay.
Where we can exert some control.
Okay.
So things like access to rare earth elements.
Okay.
Specialized manufacturing processes. Or even the concentration of expertise in certain fields.
So instead of trying to stop technological progress altogether.
Which seems impossible.
Yeah, which history has shown us is basically impossible.
Yeah.
We should focus on, like, strategically slowing it down at key points.
At key points.
To give us more time to, like, develop safeguards.
For us to think.
Yeah, think through the implications.
Exactly.
Okay.
He uses the U.S. semiconductor export controls on China.
Oh, interesting.
As a real-world example, arguing that while these measures are primarily geopolitical, they also provide a model for how we can potentially slow down development in these strategic areas to allow for more responsible innovation.
It's kind of like tapping the brakes on a car.
Yeah.
That's going too fast.
Just to make sure you have time to react.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like slow down a little bit.
And steer in the right direction.
Yeah, give ourselves a chance to catch up.
Exactly.
Okay, so step 1, build in safety.
Step 1, safety.
Step 2, strategically slow things down.
Strategic slowdown.
Where necessary.
Where necessary.
How about step 3?
Step 3 is a call to action.
Okay.
For those who are critical of technology.
Okay.
And his message is pretty simple.
What is it?
Don't just complain, build something better.
I love that.
It's so easy to just sit back and critique.
Right. It's easy to be a critic.
But he's challenging those critics to become makers.
Yeah.
To put their knowledge and skills to use.
To actually create solutions.
To create solutions.
Yeah.
He believes that the best way to shape technological development is to be a part of it.
Be a part of it, yeah.
So instead of just saying AI is dangerous, we should be saying, here's how we can make AI safer.
I like that.
It's about being part of the solution.
Yeah.
Not just pointing out the problem.
Be part of the solution, not the problem.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
And this applies not just to individuals, but to organizations and institutions as well.
We need more research.
More research.
That prioritizes safety and ethical considerations.
Absolutely.
Not just the advancement for the sake of advancement.
We need to think about the consequences of these technologies.
Yeah, what are we creating?
What are we building?
And why?
And why are we building it?
Yeah.
It's a big question.
Okay, so step 3.
Step 3, turn critics into makers.
Turn critics into makers. I like that.
Channel that critical energy into building a better future.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's step 4?
Step 4 is all about reforming business models.
Okay.
He specifically urges companies to move away from this singular focus on profit and embrace a broader sense of social responsibility.
I like that.
He really challenges this idea of shareholder primacy.
Yeah.
The belief that the sole responsibility of a company is to maximize shareholder value.
Yeah.
And he argues that this mindset is incompatible with responsible innovation. Especially when we're dealing with such powerful technologies.
Yeah, the stakes are so high.
The stakes are incredibly high.
With these technologies.
So he's advocating for companies to adopt a more holistic definition of success.
Okay.
One that considers not just financial performance, but also their social and environmental impact.
I like that. It's like the triple bottom line.
The triple bottom line, people, planet, profit.
Yeah, exactly.
He uses his own experience at DeepMind as an example.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she spent years pushing for an ethics charter and advocating for this new corporate structure.
Okay.
That would prioritize both profit and purpose.
And how did that go?
It wasn't easy.
Yeah?
But I think it highlights the challenges of implementing ethical safeguards within these existing corporate structures.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
But it's essential if we want to make sure that these technologies are developed and deployed in a way that benefits society as a whole.
Right, not just the shareholders.
Not just the shareholders.
Not just the bottom line.
Exactly.
Okay, so step 4, rethink the role of business.
Rethink the role of business.
Promote a more ethical approach.
More ethical.
That balances profit with purpose.
With purpose.
Okay, what's step 5?
Step 5 focuses on the role of government.
Okay.
In navigating this coming wave.
All right, so government's got to step up.
Government's got to step up.
And I have a feeling Suleyman's got some thoughts on this.
He does.
Okay.
He doesn't hold back in his critique of how governments have handled things like the pandemic and climate change.
Yeah.
He argues that they've been slow reactive.
Okay.
Often driven by short-term political interests.
Okay.
Rather than long-term strategic thinking.
So not super encouraging.
Not super encouraging.
So what does he think needs to change?
Well, his concern is that governments just aren't equipped to deal with the complexity and speed of technological advancement.
Yeah, it's moving so fast.
So he believes that they need to evolve and adopt a much more proactive approach.
Okay, so like what would that look like?
Well, he uses the example of nuclear power.
Okay.
Governments have a history of regulating nuclear plants.
Right.
And he argues that we need a similar level of oversight for technologies like AI and synthetic biology.
So it's not about stifling innovation with like bureaucracy.
Right.
It's about making sure that it's done responsibly.
It's about mitigating risk.
Mitigating risk.
He's not advocating for this heavy-handed approach, but rather for a more thoughtful and anticipatory framework that allows for innovation, but also safeguards.
Safeguards, yeah.
Against potential harm.
Okay, so governments need to be more proactive.
More proactive.
More forward-thinking.
More forward-thinking.
Okay, what about step 6?
Step 6 emphasizes international cooperation.
Okay, so this is a global issue.
This is a global issue.
He can't just solve it within our own borders.
No single nation can contain this wave on its own.
Right. A lab leak in one country could cause a global pandemic.
Exactly.
The cyber attack launched from one nation could cripple infrastructure in another.
These are global challenges.
Global challenges require global solutions.
That's right. He believes we need to move beyond this current paradigm of nation-state competition and embrace a more collaborative approach.
I like that.
To managing these technologies.
Yeah, we're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
Okay, so what does that look like in practice?
Well, he specifically highlights the need for global agreements and treaties to regulate the development and use of these technologies.
Almost like a nuclear non-proliferation treaty.
Yeah.
But for AI and synthetic biology.
For the 21st century.
Yeah.
We need international frameworks.
Yeah.
That establish common standards.
Yeah.
Facilitate information sharing about potential risks.
Right.
And hold nations accountable for their actions.
Okay, so step 6. Foster international cooperation.
Global cooperation.
To create this global framework for responsible innovation.
For responsible innovation.
What about step 7?
Step 7.
This one seems a bit different.
Step 7 focuses on the need for a cultural shift.
Okay, a cultural shift.
It might seem a bit abstract.
Okay.
But Suleyman argues that our current mindset and values are incompatible with navigating this coming wave successfully.
So we need a change in mindset.
We need to change in mindset. He talks about moving away from secrecy and denial towards a culture of transparency and accountability.
I like that.
You know, we need to be more open about the potential risks of these technologies. And we need to learn from our mistakes.
Right, not just try to sweep them under the rug.
No more sweeping things under the rug.
Yeah.
He uses the airline industry as an example. The remarkable safety record of airlines today is largely due to this culture of open communication. Where accidents and near misses are thoroughly investigated. And the information is shared openly.
To prevent future accidents.
To prevent similar incidents from happening again.
That's a great example.
It's a really powerful example. And so he's saying we need that same level of transparency in the tech industry.
Where companies are encouraged to share information about risks.
About risks and failures.
Not punished for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, because right now there's this big incentive to hide things.
Hide things.
Yeah.
And he also talks about the need to cultivate a more critical and discerning attitude towards technology.
Okay, so not just blindly embracing every new advancement.
Not every shiny new gadget.
Yeah.
We need to ask tough questions.
Right.
Weigh the potential benefits against the risks.
And make informed choices.
Make informed choices.
About the technologies we allow into our lives.
Into our homes, into our schools, into our societies.
It's about reclaiming our agency.
Reclaiming our agency.
Yeah. Not being passive consumers.
But active participants.
Active participants in shaping the future.
In shaping our future.
Yeah.
It's a powerful message.
So step 7 is all about this cultural shift.
Cultural shift.
Towards transparency.
Transparency.
Accountability and critical thinking.
Critical thinking.
Around technology.
About technology.
Okay. What about step 8?
Step 8 is all about empowering individuals to take action and demand change.
So we can't just sit back and wait for the governments and corporations?
We can't just wait for them to do the right thing.
Yeah, we have to be active participants.
We need to demand change. He believes we need this strong social movement that pushes for responsible innovation and holds those in power accountable.
He points to, like, the environmental movement.
Environmental movement.
And the movement for racial justice.
For racial justice.
As examples of, like, how social movements can drive meaningful change.
They can change the world.
Yeah.
He believes we need a similar movement to advocate for the responsible use of technology.
A movement that prioritizes human well-being.
Human well-being.
Social justice.
Social justice.
And a sustainable future.
A sustainable future.
Yeah, it's about people coming together and saying, we're not going to just stand by.
We're not going to be passive observers.
And let these technologies shape our future.
We demand a say.
Without our input.
In how these technologies are developed.
We demand a say.
And deployed.
Yeah.
And we demand that they be used for good.
Yeah, for the benefit of humanity.
For the benefit of humanity.
So we've got technical safety.
Technical safety.
Strategic slowdowns. Slow it down.
Critics becoming makers.
Critics become makers.
Reforming business models.
Reform business.
Empowering governments.
Empower governments.
International cooperation.
Global cooperation.
Cultural change.
Cultural change.
Social movements.
Social movements.
That's 8 steps.
8 steps.
What are the last 2?
Step 9 is all about coherence.
Coherence.
Making sure that all of these pieces work together as a system.
Okay, so it's not enough to just, like, check off each step on a checklist.
Not a checklist.
They need to be integrated.
Integrated.
And mutually supportive.
Mutually supportive.
Working together like a well-oiled machine.
Like a well-oiled machine.
To achieve this shared goal.
This shared goal.
It's like building a house. You need the foundation.
The foundation.
You need the walls. You need the roof.
The walls, the roof.
All working together.
They're working together.
To create a structure.
A structure.
That can withstand the elements.
That can withstand the storms.
Okay, so step 9.
Coherence. What about step 10?
Step 10.
This is the last one.
That's the last one.
The grand finale.
The grand finale.
Yeah, okay.
Step 10 recognizes that containment is not a destination.
Okay.
It's a journey.
It's a journey.
It's an ongoing process.
Right. It's not like we can just implement these 10 steps and then, like...
And then we're done.
Kick back and relax thinking everything is solved.
No, it's constant vigilance.
Right.
Reassessing our assumptions. Adapting our approach.
As these technologies continue to evolve.
As the world changes.
And their impact on society becomes clearer.
Becomes clear.
It's like navigating uncharted territory.
Uncharted territory.
We need to be prepared for the unexpected.
Expects the unexpected.
Constantly learn.
Constantly learn.
And adjust our course as needed.
Adjust our course.
He actually uses this really striking metaphor.
He does.
To describe this.
What is it?
He says containment is like walking this narrow and treacherous path.
Okay.
Shrouded in fog.
Oh, wow.
With a steep precipice on either side.
Okay.
You can't see very far ahead.
You can't see.
And the path is constantly twisting and turning.
Oh, my gosh.
Throwing up these unexpected obstacles.
That's a scary thought.
It is a scary thought.
It really captures the challenge.
It does.
That we're facing.
It won't be easy.
It won't be easy.
And there's no guarantee of success.
No guarantee of success.
But as Suleyman argues,
Suleyman says,
it's a journey we must undertake.
We have to do this.
If we want to ensure that technology ultimately serves humanity.
Technology serving humanity.
Okay, so we've got these 10 steps.
10 steps.
Technical safety.
Technical safety.
Choke points.
Choke points.
Critics building.
Critics building.
Reforming business.
Reforming business.
Empowering government.
Empowering government.
Global cooperation.
Cultural change.
Cultural change.
Social movements.
Social movements.
Coherence.
Coherence.
And the ongoing journey.
The ongoing journey.
That's a pretty comprehensive plan.
A lot to take in. It is a lot to take in, but how do we translate these, like, somewhat abstract principles into concrete actions?
That's the question.
Like, what does containment look like in practice?
That's what we're going to delve into in the next part of our deep dive.
All right.
We're going to explore Suleyman's specific recommendations.
Okay.
For how to contain these powerful technologies.
Let's do it.
And ensure they lead to a future that benefits all of humanity.
Sounds good to me. All right, so we're back and ready to dig into the final part of our deep dive on the coming wave. We've talked about the potential of these emerging technologies, the risks they pose, and of course, Suleyman's 10-step containment plan.
Right.
But now let's get into the specifics.
Right.
Like, what does he actually propose we do?
Yeah, about all this.
He doesn't just offer these, like, vague ideas.
Right.
He gets incredibly granular with his recommendations.
Okay, I got.
You know, it's this multi-layered approach to managing these technologies.
So think of it like building this system of interlocking safeguards.
Okay.
From redesigning the tech itself to global agreements, cultural shifts.
So it's like a whole system.
It's a whole system.
Okay.
And it's interesting that he starts with biosecurity.
Yeah, that's interesting because given his background in AI...
Yeah, you wouldn't expect that?
You wouldn't necessarily expect that to be like his top priority.
Right.
But he's clearly very concerned.
Very concerned.
About the potential for bioengineered pathogens to cause, like, catastrophic harm.
Right. He uses the COVID-19 pandemic as this wake-up call.
Right.
Like, we got lucky that that virus wasn't
more lethal
or transmissible.
Yeah.
So he proposes this three-pronged strategy
for
containing these risks.
Okay, what is it?
Delay, detect, and defend.
Delay, detect, defend.
Yeah.
It sounds almost like a military strategy.
It does.
Okay, so break that down for me.
All right, so delay.
Okay.
He advocates for this global pandemic test ban treaty that would prohibit research on the most dangerous pathogens.
So like gain-of-function research.
Let's conduct.
The kind that could potentially create a super virus.
A super virus.
Yeah, capable of wiping out like a significant portion of humanity.
Yeah, he's basically saying that some research is just too risky.
Okay.
Even in the name of scientific progress.
So we need to draw a line.
We need to draw a line in the sand.
Yeah.
The potential consequences of a lab leak or an accidental release are so catastrophic that we need to take a very cautious approach.
Okay, so that's delay. What about detect?
Detect, he emphasizes the importance of investing in early warning systems that can identify and track new diseases quickly.
So like enhanced surveillance.
Enhanced surveillance.
Rapid diagnostic testing.
Rapid testing.
Global data sharing.
Data sharing.
So it's like creating a global immune system.
Exactly.
That can detect and respond to threats.
Before they spiral out of control.
Before they become a pandemic.
Exactly.
Okay, and what about defend?
Defend, so this is about being prepared. Having robust healthcare systems.
Stockpiles of essential medical supplies.
Stockpiles.
Treatments and vaccines.
Treatments, vaccines.
Ready to go.
We need to be much better prepared than we were for COVID-19.
Right, so having a plan in place and having the resources. To act quickly and effectively. He doesn't just stop at like traditional measures though?
No, he goes further.
He suggests things like designing pandemic-proof buildings.
Pandemic-proof building.
And infrastructure, using technologies like UV light to kill viruses.
Right, reaching outside the box, building resilience into our system.
At every level.
At every level.
Okay, so that's biosecurity.
Delay, detect, defend.
But he doesn't stop there.
He doesn't stop there.
He gets into some really interesting ideas for how we might govern AI.
So he argues that our traditional regulatory approaches just aren't up to the task.
Yeah, it's moving so fast.
It's too complex. It's evolving too rapidly.
I need something new.
We need something new.
Okay.
So he proposes this new international body focused specifically on AI.
So like the IAEA, but for artificial intelligence.
Exactly.
Okay.
This organization would be responsible for setting global standards.
Okay.
Encouraging responsible development. Monitoring the use of AI.
Making sure it's not weaponized.
Not being weaponized.
Or used for harmful purposes.
Used for good.
It's like having this global watchdog.
A watchdog.
Yeah, for AI.
Making sure this incredibly powerful technology
is used ethically.
Ethically.
And for the benefit of humanity.
For good.
And he doesn't stop there.
He doesn't stop there.
He also proposes a licensing system for AI developers.
Oh, wow.
Similar to how, like, doctors and lawyers need to be licensed.
Licensed to practice.
To practice.
Interesting.
So you wouldn't just be able to, like, create and release AI systems into the world with no oversight.
You need to meet certain standards. Undergo training.
Be accountable.
Be accountable.
To this governing body.
To a higher authority.
It's about making sure that the people who are developing and deploying these systems,
these powerful systems,
have the expertise, the ethical grounding.
A sense of responsibility
that
we need.
Okay, these are some pretty bold proposals.
They are.
But what about like the economic and social consequences of this coming wave?
That's a big question.
We talked earlier about his concerns about job displacement.
Right.
And the potential for these technologies to like exacerbate existing inequalities.
Yeah, to make the gap between the haves and the have-nots even wider.
So what does he suggest we do about that?
Well, he argues that we need to fundamentally rethink our economic and social systems.
Okay, so big changes.
Big changes.
Not just tweaking around the edges.
No, he's calling for a more fundamental restructuring to ensure a more equitable distribution of the benefits of these technologies.
So that everyone benefits.
Everyone benefits.
Not just the select few.
Not just the elites.
Okay, so what kind of changes is he talking about?
Well, he explores ideas like a universal basic income
UBI
to provide a safety net for those who are displaced by automation. He talks about finding ways to share the wealth generated by these technologies more broadly.
So things like worker cooperatives.
Worker cooperatives.
Profit-sharing schemes.
Profit sharing.
He even mentions a global tax on robots.
A robot tax.
It's about making sure everyone benefits from this technological progress.
Exactly.
It's about creating a more just and equitable society.
For a better future.
Yeah, a better future for all.
For all.
We've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From biosecurity to AI governance to economic reform.
Big topics.
But what really stood out to me in the book was Suleyman's focus on like the human element.
Right.
He doesn't just talk about the technical challenges.
The nuts and bolts.
Yeah, but the need for a shift in our mindset.
Our mindset.
A change in our value.
Our value.
Yeah. He talks about moving away from fear and scarcity.
Right.
Towards this mindset of abundance and possibility.
Abundance and possibility.
Yeah. If we approach these technologies with a sense of hope and a willingness to collaborate. He argues that we can create a future that is both prosperous and just.
A better future.
A better future.
That's a powerful message.
He sees this coming wave not just as like a technological challenge, but as a spiritual challenge.
A test.
Yeah, it's a test of our humanity.
Of our humanity.
And he believes we have the capacity to pass that test if we choose to.
If we choose to.
So it's not a foregone conclusion.
It's up to us.
It's up to us.
To decide what kind of future we want.
It's a powerful message, and while the challenges ahead are immense.
They are immense.
The coming wave ultimately leaves you with this sense of
hope.
Yeah.
It's a call to action.
An invitation to participate in shaping a future.
A better future.
Where technology serves humanity.
Technology serving humanity.
Not the other way around.
Not the other way around.
That's The Coming Wave by Mustafa Suleyman.
A must-read.
It's a thought-provoking, challenging, and ultimately hopeful book.
hopeful.
That I highly recommend to anyone who cares about the future.
About the future of humanity.
And that wraps up our deep dive into the coming wave.
I hope you enjoyed it.
We hope you found this exploration insightful and engaging.
As always, keep exploring, keep learning.
And keep asking those big questions.
The big questions.
Until next time, happy diving.